The lowest bid was Seneca Stone at $33,500. Do we want to award it?
I'm a yes.
So Jack's making a motion to award the paving bid for Lysander Station 1 to Seneca Stone.
I'll second it. I'm sorry?
Doing a roll call.
No.
Becky? Yes. Jack?
Yes.
Casey?
Yes.
Award is done to Senator Stone. I know you've been in contact with him. Can you just call him and confirm? Follow up? Next up is the PAC-B award. The commissioners did meet on Sunday in a special meeting and went over actually all of these awards and bid packets again, just to make sure that everyone that bid all these different awards or packets were qualified. And the decision made during the meeting was to reject all PPE all PPE bids. We are going to work with the vendors to create a more current spec over the next 2 months, and we are going to have the new spec up and running for January 1st, so we can go out to bid in January. The next one is the rescue tools, and this is the grant that we have through, how many years ago? I don't remember.
I can tell you.
James Notch's office thing.
Yeah, it's through Francisco, yeah.
So again, we received 4 bids. They were previously opened. One of them did not complete the bid, so we took them out of the running, and code 4 was then the lowest qualified bidder. So are we prepared to go forward and offer or purchase the code 4 first tools?
Yeah.
Shall we make the motion?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Is it 49?
For
49,980.
No, that is. That does include. So Rick making a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Just due to the value of the 49,000 is to roll call on this. Tony?
I have to recuse myself from that vote.
Rick?
Yes.
Becky? 3 bids. West Hereford had the lowest bid at $37,000 and some change. I don't have it right in front of me, I apologize. I feel like I've done this like so many times today. 37,400. 37,405.43.
37, what, that, Rick?
405.
And what was the next lowest bid?
38, 340, 130.
So we have the option of awarding the bid or rejecting all of them.
Becky, are we allowed to have discussion before this vote? I'm not sure.
Can discuss anything you want.
Okay. Before we go to vote, I'm speaking as an individual and not speaking for the rest of the commissioners. I personally was looking, and I'm aware of the law on the lowest responsible bidder. and we actually got a clarification, I believe, from our attorney, which we have, Becky's received, that the second vehicle, the second lowest vehicle, if I'm saying this right, is approximately $800 more. One is for an SUV, the Ford manufacturer, and one in the $800 one is for the Tahoe. I had done some research to figure out what would be the best vehicle, what I believe for our fire chief's longevity, ultimately the taxpayer. There's a difference of $800. I figure if we kept our vehicles for a 7-year period, it's a difference of $114 a year, added cost to the district and the taxpayers. With my reasoning in wanting the bigger vehicle was simple. Safety was one. Resale value at the end of the 7 years is 2, and then a little bit more room for stuff to carry. That was the third option was not what I would call a critical option, but the other two were. To put things in perspective on the resale value, we have I printed off the internet, just took a 2015 Tahoe and a 2015 Explorer, correct? The Ford product. The 2015 Tahoe was valued at $28,054. The 2015 was valued at, 2015 Ford was valued at $16,422. So they're just shy of $10,000 at the end of what I would say at the end of the line. So we had asked Becky to reach out to the attorney, and the attorney said safety and value at the end is not a reason, it is not a reason to throw out the lowest bidder. Well, I want it on record as we vote that I completely disagree with the attorney. I believe safety is our #1 priority. And the $10,000 that I think the taxpayers should get at the end, or even if I cut it in half, said $5,000 additional, that's worthy. That's worthy of our rear-end collisions. Look at the statistics on the highway, on rear-end collisions in the village streets. I'm appalled, and I want to document that the lawyer says that safety is not a reason to accept and not accept an $800 upcharge, $114 over 7 years. That's my statement. I'm appalled by that.
Bring that paper.
It's supposed to say reasonable, throwing out the bottom bid. An attorney of 40 plus years says safety isn't a reason. I'm in the wrong business.
Can I ask you a question?
Sir?
Why is it a safety difference? That's my question.
Bigger vehicle, better structure, the whole deal. Look at the vehicles, set them side by side. What would you want to put your family in and survive a crash? A smaller vehicle or a bigger vehicle? Their lives are worth it. $800, $114.
The new Explorers are full frame now. They're not unibody.
I know. They're smaller. They're smaller. Read the statistics. Read everything. And if I'm wrong, I'll eat crow, but read up on it.
I read the law. That's all I can do.
Safety is, you know what? Take it a step further. Publicize this. I would go to court over it. My guys, your guys, our taxpayers are worth it. You could publicize that.
So I will go back to the original, we have the option of rejecting all bids, or we can award bids tonight. What would the board like to do?
I think we should award the bid.
Are you making a motion?
I'll make a motion. I know it's not going far, but yes, I'll make a motion to award the bid. And my reasoning behind it is, we went to this trouble, we got it, we know what we're supposed to do. If we did not bid it the way everybody wanted it bid, so we didn't get what they wanted, that's fine, I understand that. But I think it'd be unethical to reject the bids and then rewrite a bid package to eliminate other people from being in it, whether it's safety or whatever the reason is. I think it would be unethical for us to do that. I understand the PPE gear because there was no need for it, but if you reject this bid just on the idea that you didn't get the truck you wanted wasn't the lowest bid, to reject all the bids and then go back and redo it to try to get that bid lower, that's just unethical. So I will make a motion that we move forward.
Do I have a second? If there's no second, then the motion fails.
I would appreciate a phone call to the lawyer to ask, we rejected the bids and the reason we rejected them, to see where we stand.
You know, not for nothing, there's options. There's HGAC, there's state bid, there's multiple options.
That's not my point.
I'm making it a point and making it very clear. There is options to do anything that this fire district or any other municipality can do. We choose to go low bid. That's what we choose. And sometimes low bid is not in the best interest of this board, the fire district, and the taxpayers. Sometimes low bid is not the best choice. There was tools and resources that we ignored.
I will call Bill in the morning.
One more discussion, I don't wanna drag it out longer, but you had talked about a best value resolution.
Correct.
I think there needs to be a little bit more context in this discussion. We were under the impression that if we could justify the difference in cost, that we were allowed to go with another bidder. When we consulted the attorney, that wasn't necessarily the case. We were obligated to go with low bidder unless we had adopted a best value resolution. We did not know that that had to be there in order to follow through on the impression we were under. So it's not simply a fact of wanting to go with a different, just because we like the color or we like who was selling it, or as Tony mentioned, a couple of us felt strongly that there was reasons to justify that, in that it was worth the difference in cost. We just were not under the impression that could not be done without having a different resolution in place after consulting the attorney. So I think we need to investigate that best value resolution so that we don't get hung up again if we see an opportunity where it's in the best interest of the taxpayer to go with a second place bid or a different bid.
You know, to Jack's point, I want to make sure that everybody's very aware. I'm not, by any stretch of the means, having an issue with Jack or anything. All I'm trying to do is get the right vehicle for the group at a sensible, reasonable cost. Everything that I've ever been trained was, and I've been told, black and white, as long as you have a logical, sensible reason, that makes sense. That's my only argument in I couldn't think of any other logical, sensible, more reasons. It's not about who sells and what color, none of that. It was about giving the guys a little extra for $114 a year. Just so we're on the same page.
It's a drawback to be in a district. I apologize. Do I agree with it? No, I don't. But it's a drawback to be in a district. It's one of the big drawbacks. I said it at the meeting Sunday. Our biggest problem is we do not do a better job when we write and do specs. Everybody tries to just get it out there, and it's a problem.
I agree with you.
So
I agree.
I just don't think it's ethical to do what we're doing right now. That's just my point. gonna give us a bad reputation with some of with the dealers. And I just don't like that idea, so.
Thank you both for your opinions. Moving on the agenda, next up is the adoption of the fifth car policy. The fifth car policy was presented to the commissioners at a workshop. It was previously read at a meeting last month, and now it just has to go in for vote to adopt it or not. Tony?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Becky? Yes. Jack?
Was there some changes you were gonna make, Rick?
To the car 5 policy?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I thought there was one that you were, okay. No. Okay. Yes.
Casey? Here's the packet. Do I have a statement in it? Yes.
You want me to read it?
Yes, please.
Northwest Fire District Sexual Harassment Policy Procedure. It is unlawful to harass a person, an applicant or employee because of the person's sex. Harassment can include sexual harassment or unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or other verbal or physical harassment of a sexual nature. Harassment does not have to be of sexual nature, however, it can include offensive remarks about a person's sex. For example, it's illegal to harass a woman by making an offensive comment about women in general. Both victim and the harasser can either be a woman or a man, and the victim and harasser can be the same sex. The Northwest Fire District will not tolerate sexual harassment. A copy of the Northwest Fire District Sexual Harassment Policy can be found in the radio rooms at each fire station. The necessary forms to file a report with the district can be found in each radio room as well. There is also an icon in each computer desktop where the forms can be printed. To file a report, you need to contact Sean Dunlap at sdunlap@baldwinsvillefire.org or 315-380-2392. Roxanne Perkins, rperkins@baldwinsvillefire.org or 315-569-6091, or Alex Bogwich at alexbogwich@attisind.com or 315-561-1632. Do not contact any commissioner to file a complaint. All reports must be filed with one of the 3 individuals listed.
So the purpose of this statement is to have read at each fire company's monthly meeting so that it covers the interactive portion of the sexual harassment policy, so individuals know where to go, who to contact, and where to find information. Anybody have any comments or anything to change, add, adjust? I think it sounds good as written.
I'd like to just say thanks to Megan for working all that, and the other commissioners that were involved. We're here, we need to get it done. I appreciate that a lot. I'd be willing to make a motion to adopt that.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I do have one other just quick thing under administration. It is that time of year where we are starting to work on employee evaluations. I have readjusted the evaluation forms to try to coincide a little bit better with what the individuals do, is not such a general aspect. I sent that out to the commissioners today actually. I'm asking them for their feedback on anything that they want to change or add or remove. And then once that's completed, we'll start working collaboratively to do the evaluations and then get with the employees to go over them. That's it on that. Moving on to financial, tonight we are going to adopt the preliminary budget for 2020.
Right.
Okay.
I volunteered very
Every-
quickly for that
every
one.
line?
I think all you have to read is the front page.
Is that it?
Yeah.
You don't want
No, you don't have to go into it, it's just the fund.
Okay. Northwest Fire District 2020 budget summary. Total appropriations, $1,738,157, less estimated revenue, $21,350. Estimated appropriated unreserved fund balance, $21,350. Amount to be raised by real property tax, $1,716,807. Want this too? All the way.
Let me just get the totals.
Okay, the town of Lysander, total full value percentage is 0.43. The appropriation tax times the real property tax to be raised is $738,227.01. The town of Van Buren, the full valuation percentage is 0.57. The amount to be raised is $978,579.99 for a total of $1,716,807. That's it, right? Lysander apportioned tax, $738,227.01. Van Buren is $978,579.99 for a total apportioned of $1,716,807.
Just gonna vote on it. Tony?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Becky? Yes. Jack?
Yes.
Casey?
Yes.
All right, next up is changing payroll companies.
You want me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
We met with a company called ADP, and they do the same thing as paychecks, only they're cheaper, and we get a lot more with them. It would save her time doing payroll because their information that is on her, would be on the treasurer's computer. The information that she puts in, like when one of them says they had 40 hours coming, all she has to do is put in 40 hours. She puts 40 hours in, she does the 4 employees, and then she's finished, and it automatically figures all the taxes, it puts all the appropriations into QuickBooks where they belong, and it takes care of all the categories like it's supposed to be. It's stuff she's doing by hand right now. This would do it automatically just by putting in the hours. You get a little more with it. Each employee would get a password. They can actually go online. They can see their totals for the first 6 months of the year. If they lose their W-2s, they can go up and actually print their W-2s off it. It's $120.45 a month, and what are we paying now?
About 171 without quarterly
Paying
reports.
171,
If
so
we
it's
have
gonna save
quarterly
us-
reports, it's over 200.
Right. And they don't charge for the quarterly reports. As you can see on the back, they do all the filing for us. There's, I believe one charge, they charge at the end of the year for the W-2s, just like everybody. But there's no quarterly reports. Yeah, the W-2 is $73 annually, and then the $10 to deliver. She believes the setup fee of $200 they'll waive. Right now, we have 4 employees. For every employee, if we add more, it's gonna go up like $6, $7. It goes up $3.50 for each employee, $3.50 for each employee. They do have an HR program you can get into, but I don't think we need that right now, we only 4 people. But it's gonna save us some money, it's gonna save Joanne some time. we got this information through our accountant that comes in quarterly and reviews our books. And she supports them. She likes them better than she does paychecks. That's about it, unless you have some questions.
When are you thinking about switching if we switch?
Well, she would like to switch with the beginning of the quarter, which would be next month's payroll. It may not be possible, but,
You probably don't have a contract with the other company, right? We
no,
wouldn't be in
we've never had a
violation of any
contract with
breach.
paychecks, never.
We just put it on the agenda for the next
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah. I think that's a good
Oh,
idea.
there's a chance to look at it.
Yeah, that's fine.
That way everybody can read it over.
Yeah.
That's fine. We kinda told her that it'd be kinda tough, and she's, well, I understand that.
Joanne, are you comfortable, I mean, this is, you think
I'm
this will help
comfortable
us,
with the
help
fact that
you?
Lynn recommended them, and she's the one who comes in and takes care of our books regularly.
Okay.
The means I think we use them in the new plan, so we use ADPs.
Pardon?
We use ADP at the new plan, so,
Do you?
yeah. You have an app on your phone, you can look at all your pay stubs, pay statements, everything on your phone. And your
There's quite a
W-2s.
few companies that use them.
I use it at work.
It's pretty awesome.
Okay. Tony, truck maintenance?
Honestly, I don't have a lot to cover tonight, so I can wait, we got a big agenda, that's fine. Yep.
Jeff, building and ground?
Yes. As you see, they did the front of the building. There's a couple things I gotta go over with the guy. We were supposed to do it yesterday, but had to be, the trench went down for us, so it won't be till Thursday. Just minor stuff that we've gotta fix. Then we can pay the bill and something like that. The rest of it. As you know, the washer and dryer is up and running. I know Wayne's got some training notes. It's nothing, it's not real hard to use, it's very simple, but just a couple things you need to know about it before you use it. And also, to go along with the pavement project, I would have done this either or. The guardrails, I took them off, because I guess we talked about paving right up to the building. The boards were rotted, they're bad, I wouldn't put them back up. I got a price for some new ones and also to do the front of the building that we talked about, so the building doesn't get hit again. I got a price, it's gonna be $900, but I would go $1,000. I might do something to the corner of the building over here to protect it, so. But I kinda need that because I have to get the post in before they pave in the front. The whole idea is that I gotta straighten these up over here, put those in, and then hopefully they pave, and then we can put the boards back on. That's my plan.
And their TP number?
Maybe. 1491.
And you were
Make a
planning on
motion.
doing that, oh, I'm sorry, Rick.
Sorry, you have a question?
You were planning on doing that anyway,
I
right?
think it would have been, they were all, half of them were falling off anyway.
Well, I'm more concerned about the front of the
Yeah,
building.
I think we would have done it even if we didn't pave it.
I think Rick brought that up when we put the new siding on there.
I'll make a motion to allot up to $1,000 on RTP 1491 to replace the protective boards on the side and the front.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries.
That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Wayne, do you have anything from Source before we go into the RTPs?
You know, Jeff mentioned washer and dryer, so I mean, I do have training set up, a couple training days set up currently. See how it goes from there as far as getting people familiarized with both the washer and the dryer and how to use them. So.
Well, I was gonna bring this up later, but since you guys keep bringing it up. With the gear cleaning, this was just a couple of questions that were brought to the attention of Wayne, and he passed them on to me. Is there any concerns / thoughts on who should be able to wash the gear? The other issue was, how are we going to track how often, when the gear is washed, who's going to document it? So I didn't know if that was something that maybe the chiefs and safety officers wanted to kind of take,
Mostly.
like when it should, how often, like it should be done at least once a quarter or after every day, whatever you guys think is the best policy for that.
Recommendations are twice a year, unless you have a working fire where you're gonna use them more. And most of the departments that I'm familiar with has a logbook. They
Okay.
record their name, the date, and when they clean.
Amy's speech does about them. She keeps track of it all.
Okay, but I guess that goes back to if everyone has access and everybody can go in and wash their own gear,
Yeah, you
who's
gotta
going to be
figure it out.
responsible for, like, do we keep a logbook and
Should be no
washing
different than what we do with the
wire
SCBA.
and
We have a lot for filling SCBA that we could probably do the same thing if you're washing and
just
they
stick it in the room and they
date
can,
it, put their name.
Yeah, I created a log sheet, basically to put in a 3-ring binder, and the center just has the date, the name, and then I also requested like the serial number of the gear, you know, the coat and the bunkers. And then I also added a line that the bunkers were, and the coat, were inspected, you know, because obviously if they're gonna wash it, it's a lot easier to inspect it when it's apart. So, if there's any issues at that point in time, then they can, you know, get a hold of, you know, either their line officers or get a hold of me as far as getting a spare set to get their gear repaired or at least inspected to see what the problem is. So, that's what I created. We can work with that for now. If somebody wants to review it, change it, that's fine. So at least we have that to at least log it.
Maybe when it gets full, we take a copy for Megan. So then she
you
can
can
enter
add
it in
to
there.
our Webex.
Yeah,
that's
that's what I was just
You
gonna
know, it wouldn't hurt to have safety officer Hopper and the chief, I mean, make sure we're, I know there's an NFPA recommendation on cycles and maybe that there's an NFPA sheet that we can create. Just, I mean, it's there, the equipment's there, let's just have Bill and Chief Perkins work something out. I mean, make sure, you know, take Wayne's template and if that suffices, fine. If it needs to be edited, fine. But it definitely should document it, that's for darn sure.
I think personally, what he's got there is good to start us. Instead of spending 2 months making up a form, use what Wayne's got now. If we find something better, then put that in line at that time.
But whatever, just, we need some.
I wouldn't wait for
Yeah.
a piece of paper.
If he picks it up once a month and drops it off to Megan, she can enter it by the person's name right into his gear and,
But you don't have to drop it off anywhere. The new month comes along, you take it and you put it in the mailbox, she has to go and
well,
walk anyway.
mailbox,
I
okay,
go the
whatever.
same, I go there every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right.
I can check
I
every
mean,
Tuesday.
currently right now, it's the same thing with like the small PPE stuff, you know. When the sheet's full, I take it and I enter it all into RedMX under each individual, so we know exactly where everything is going, and I can do the same thing, or Megan can do the same thing with the gear washing.
The only other statement that I will make, and I hope that all of the officers and chiefs can understand this, is that there is not always spare gear to give someone if they're washing their gear, so understand that they may not always have a second set. I know sometimes that's a big thing if they're out, but if they're gonna be washing their gear and it's gonna take a couple hours, they just may not have gear for a couple hours, so.
I mean, basically right now, I've washed gear and I've even run it through the dryer, and you're looking at 3.5 to 4 hours.
3.5 to 4 hours is far better than 3 days. And I think that's where the spare gear concerns came from.
Understand, I'm just putting that out there because I know it's been an issue in the past. if we have a big incident and a bunch of people come back and they throw their gear in there and,
Just gonna have to stagger how you wash your gear. Not everybody wash your gear at once.
thank
Pretty
you.
simple.
I mean, I've washed, you can wash up to 4 sets, you can break it down, between the outer shell and the inner layers. You can fit 4 sets of gear in there, and it washes it really good, you know. And the same thing, the liners, the inner liners, it's a little tighter, but depending on the size, you may have to drop, you know, a couple pieces out. But even still, I mean, you can go through and get them washed pretty quick.
Anything else from stores?
As far as the rest of the washer and dryer room, the sink is on order. Once that comes in, Jeff will work on getting that installed. And there's gonna be a prep table in there, or a assembly table, so that people can take their gear apart in there. Right now, they'll just have to do it out on the table, out on the truck floor, you know, for the time being. But eventually, we are gonna try and get a table in there so that they can take their stuff apart in there. Yep. So, the rest of it I'll go over when I train people.
All right, RTPs from the workshop. RTP 1571 cabinet for SCBA math for $285. RTP 1573 lock set and cylinders for Beagle Station 1, $410. RTP 1574 2 charging cords for MSA gas meters, $110. RTP 1655 4 2-packs of EpiPen adult and 2 4-pack junior EpiPens, 1 case of large gloves, 1 case of extra large gloves, and oral airway kits for $3,699.14. RTP 1656 for 200 batteries to change into AEDs for $400. RTP 1659 2 hand pumps for $110. And RTP 1665 17 AV 300 SCBA masks for $4,335 for a total of $9,349.14.
You need to pitch it or back?
Sorry, trying.
I have 2 questions.
If you get tired of my squeaky voice, feel free.
I have 2 questions. 200 batteries for the AED? How many does each AED take?
10.
Oh, okay. I just didn't realize that. I thought it
Well,
was one
I mean,
big
you don't
battery.
need quite 200, but the problem is they come, it's either 50 or 100.
Well, I just
You know,
thought there was
or I
one
can
big
go buy
battery.
the
and I
2
didn't
packs
realize it
at
was 10.
$10 a piece.
Oh,
And
okay.
it doesn't make any sense.
And do we really need 17 spare masks? How long does it take to get a mask?
A couple of days or more. Remember, we talked about this as far as, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we're gonna keep spares in there, clean, new spares for fit testing. We're not gonna take somebody's mask from off the street and do that. So, that's 3, at least 3, maybe 4 right there, depending on the sizes. Wayne, I don't know what else you have planned under, but.
I mean, basically, they're small and large. A lot of people have the large. I'm totally out of both those sizes. I mean, if I can
But
swap
we
them out
have
for
the
the mediums.
ones for testing, right? So you're not counting them?
Right.
This is just to put in the cabinet?
This is for new members or replacement for an existing member.
Right.
Something happens to their mask, they need one, we got it.
So, not to sound ignorant here, you're saying you need 17 spare masks? Or out of these 17, there's 4 or something for designated for something else? I'm not
Am I
understanding.
misquoting here, Wayne, or not? You know, they haven't enough for them, just for the.
Well, I was figuring because I thought you needed 2 of each of these sizes for fit testing.
So that means it takes out 8 of them right off the top. So
Those are
that
strictly
leaves
for fit testing.
9 spare masks.
So
If I
it's taken
understand.
out. It's taken out 4, 2 smalls and 2 large. Taken out 4
So
masks.
we have absolutely
So,
no extras for
basically,
fit
you're gonna
testing?
have 8 to give out to new members that need them, 8 large and 5 smalls. Cause I have neither of those sizes in stock. So if somebody breaks a mask, I'll have one to give them. if a new member comes in and need one of those masks, I'm gonna be able to get it to them. I mean, if you only want, 2 of each size, then just order 2.
I'm just asking how often we would use one. Are we getting 5 in there and it's gonna take you 6 months before you use 3 of them up? If it only takes a week to get another one. I guess what I'm looking for is trying to get our budget under control and not just carry a whole bunch of extra stuff. If we can get stuff within 5 to 7 days, do we need to carry as much as gloves, for example? That's my only question. I'm just asking everybody to think about how much we're carrying and ways to control the budget a little better than I think we are. And I just thought 17, but if you're buying 17 and you gotta give Ed Coakley 4 right out of it, that's what you're saying, right? So Ed has none down there to test anybody with?
Not those sizes, no.
He has none in the small and the large? Okay. Thank you.
And I think it takes longer than a week to get them, but.
I just
Well,
thought I'd ask.
if they're new members, I mean, you guys, Chief, you know more than I do on how many of them are ready to go firefighter experience.
Depends on whether or not they get into a class right away.
Yeah, that's the drawback.
Yeah, but it's not just new members. If I bust a master.
No, I get that, I'm just, it's the big thing that seems like it's, well, we need them for new members, okay? I just.
Well, I need them for, anybody that has a fit test, if they change sizes, I have to be able to accommodate what they
I
need.
guess
I
the
get that.
ultimate
And-
question.
The biggest problem is the small and large went so fast because everybody went onto the mediums, either they got fat or, the faces got fat or
Well, I
the faces
think
got
that's
skinnier.
honestly, from what I
Because I got,
those
Wait,
change
the
a little
ultimate
bit.
question, you need 17 or not?
yes.
Okay.
Well, that's what I'm
we need to
asking
know.
for.
All right. Do you need 17, or you're asking for 17 and you really need 15? If you need 17, tell us 17. If you need 15, tell us 15. What's the real number?
17.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, and I'm not gonna read all these again, but I'm gonna make a motion to pay RTP 1571, 73, 74, 1655, 1656, 1659, and 1665 for a total of $9,349.14. Do I have a second?
Second.
And you need a roll call.
Tony,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Casey.
Yes.
You want me to take over a little bit? You want to
Knock
break?
yourself out, go ahead.
All right. Just gonna help out Becky. We have RTPs from Chief Perkins. I'm gonna read them. Well, it's actually one RTP for multiple items, so I'll read the RTP number. It's RTP number 1576. It's a total amount of $13,260 for the following equipment he's looking for. One aluminum rollout tray for Squad 2 at a cost of $38.50.40. He'd like 6 gear bags for the Chiefs. He'd like 1 2-tier hose rack for Ballsville Station 1 at a cost of $2,200. He'd like 1 hose winder for Beeville Station 1 at a cost of $550. He'd like 2 hose clamps for Beeville Station 1 at $770. He'd like 1 TFT Blitz Fire oscillating nozzle for Beeville Station 1 at a tune of $4,300. Freight charges $1,200. Again, the total are for the RTP 1576 is $13,260.
Right.
I don't
Go ahead.
recall that freight charge. Was that on two of
That's
those?
just what Wayne said.
When I talked to them, that's what they told me it was.
Okay, they didn't tell me that, okay.
Yeah.
I'm
The
guessing that.
biggest thing is gonna be the rollout tray.
There you go.
Because it's shipping freight, and
Okay.
freight is expensive.
Well,
Get it through Amazon?
You get everything from Amazon.
The two-tier rack, Wayne, I gotta believe that's where the majority of your shipping is.
Yeah. I mean,
The rollout
it's all
tray-
over the board, but, you know, just the rollout tray was probably the biggest.
Yeah, that's, unfortunately, that's not unheard of, that's what the shipping is.
The hose rack is probably overweight for UPS or FedEx, so it's gonna go freight.
It would be my tractor trailer.
So,
Is all of this is Chief Perkins within budget?
Yes,
Chief, you are?
no, according to last winter status, I guess.
I want to say something, please, don't anybody take this the wrong way. This looks like, well, we looked at the budget and we got a lot of money left over, so let's go buy stuff. But don't get upset, Tom.
I am upset.
No, let me finish, let me finish.
Go ahead.
When we're doing the budget, okay, and you put your money in, it is not good to wait to the end of the year to do this. If you needed the blitz nozzle, and I understand, if you need it, you need it. But if you need it now, you should have needed it at the beginning of the year. It doesn't look good to the comptroller's office. Shake your head, okay.
I'm just saying, that's traditionally what I have done, because if we have an emergency beginning of the year, and I've blown all the money, and now something happens, we're out of money.
But you keep saying traditionally. What I'm saying is you put the money in. It is illegal to just put a lump sum in for a line item and say $25,000. Technically, we're supposed to say where it's going. We don't. We get by with it. I'm just asking that we start realizing that we're a district and we have ways that we have to spend money. Is it frustrating? I'm sorry, Tom. It is frustrating. It's frustrating to me.
You don't even know how I put my budget together. I get a list at the beginning of the year of equipment I think we need or could use, and plug it. I don't write every item down when I submit my budget. And here again, Jack, this stuff was all brought up a month ago. And you traditionally wait until the night in front of the cameras to question me.
Well, more important, I want to make it very clear, what Chief Perkins has stated is what he's told us that's how he operates. At the beginning of the year, we set up the budget, and it was for this year, XYZ dollar. I don't know what the dollar amount was in the chief's budget, but he said religiously he doesn't like to spend it at the beginning of the year because he's afraid if he does that, you know, obviously there's absolute, we got to have it now on certain topics, but the majority of the time, this is what, and he's been doing it for 5 years, this is what he's told. This is not new to us. He waits to the end of the year, make sure we're not having any catastrophic issues that, you know, and he's within budget. This is what he does. This is not just something that's thrown together. It may appear, Jack, that this is what he's just dumping his budget, but if you go through what they've spent in an operational side, this is well within the lead. The comptroller doesn't tell us we have to spend our money in June, August, and not September, unless I'm wrong. Don't take this wrong, unless I'm wrong. I mean, he's within budget, we're not at the end of the year. I mean, are we doing something wrong? I mean, I'm asking, I don't know, I don't believe so. I mean, does the town of Van Buren and the town of Lysander not spend any money at the end of the year? When they have, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should ask the lawyer about that.
I guess you're not getting my point. Nobody is. Sorry. I've been doing this for a long time, and we're getting carried away with the way we're doing it. If an item is, you know, this and this, but when you get down to September and you spend $38,000 and $40,000, it doesn't look right. It looks like, wait a minute, what have you been doing all year long? You've been saving your money. They reprimanded a fire district not more than 3 or 4 years ago. I got it in the mail for doing the same thing. They put a bunch of money in, and then when some new product come out, they said, well, we're just putting that in there in case we want to buy something. They got into trouble for it. Will we? I don't know. I just am making a statement, questioning it, and asking if we could try to be a little better at the way we spend money and not leave it all set in an account And then we sit there and say, well, we got this, and then all of a sudden we say, well, you know what? Let's buy this, let's buy that. Is that what you did? I don't know, and I don't care. It's just me, as I look at it, that's what I say. I say, well, wait a minute. They just looked at the report. He's got $20,000 in the equipment fund. He didn't spend it, so let's just buy stuff. This is the kind of stuff that we should plan for to come out of the equipment. The tray, the blitz fire, that should be coming out of the equipment fund. That is a capital fund that we can take out and buy that stuff when you want it. That's my point. It just, the way I feel. I think we're going over the line with the way we run the budget. We have a very large budget, $1.7 million. That's a large budget to work with.
I've been doing it for 5 years. I'll come tonight to surprise.
I've been complaining about it for 5 years the way we do it.
Not the way you did tonight.
The reality is, it's within budget. As long as we're not breaking the law, I'd like to make a motion to approve RTP 1576 for $13,260 for budgeted stuff.
Second.
Tony,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Becky, yes, Jack,
No.
Casey.
Yes.
Okay, moving along, under RTP 1582, it's a total of $1,344.72. It's for two Sunset HXG 2D gas detector meters for a total of $964. One HXG 2D calibration kit for $230.72, and then shipping $150 for shipping. That's $150 for shipping, and then an RTP. I'm sorry, that's the end of it. Again, it's a total of $1344.72. RTP 1582. Chief, I have a question.
And yes, I did buy this on a whim. Because I
No, that's not what I'm asking. Just bear with me. Bear with me. We gotta just stop getting defensive. This is not a personal thing. What is a Sunset HG2D gas detector meter? I'm guessing it's a CO meter, Chief?
No,
No,
Okay.
natural gas
nothing,
detector,
natural gas.
which we do not have.
You've answered my question. I was concerned that we're buying a different brand of CO meters for a third time, and I didn't want to do
We
that.
are woefully inadequate on responding to natural gas.
Duly noted, Chief.
The match doesn't work.
Is the $1344.72 within the budget after the expense of the $13,000?
Yes.
According to my calculations, it is.
I'll make a motion to purchase the gas meters calibration kit and pay for the shipping for $1,344.72.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I forgot that part, sorry, Becky. Want me to keep going?
Okay.
What's that?
You're okay, go ahead.
Okay. We have another RTP for 1577, or I'm sorry, 1577 is the RTP number. It's for Mercedes hose. $12,325. That's the total amount. I'll read it. It's for 10 lengths of 100 by 5 inch supply line at $73.50 for the total 10 lengths. He's got one 50-foot length by 5 inch supply line at $450. He's got two 25 by 5 inch supply line at $630 or $630. He has 8 50-foot by 2.5 attack lines at a total of $1,920, and then 5 100 by 2 inch attack line, a total of $1,975. Again, to repeat myself, RTP 1577 for $12,325. That was a separate line item in our budget, correct?
Yes.
Was hose? I'll ask a black and white question. Do you need that much hose, chief?
Yep. We're changing out supply hose to a lighter weight, easier to handle hose.
So to refresh my memory, you have a couple trucks still with the key vinyl hose, right? The key rubberized hose,
Yes.
which that's approximately 10 plus 15 years old or better, right?
Harder to handle and a lot heavier. It's about half, the Mercedes hose, this way, is about half the weight.
Understood.
Okay, I'll chime in here. Everybody look at me and get mad. I'm not sure about it, I understand what you're saying, but if we do it, can we get rid of some hose?
Yep.
I mean, I spent the last 2 weeks putting hose in Red MX, so the inventories of the day that they did the hose test, I realize now that it's not the same because we had a fire and you take it off. And we have almost 8,000 feet of 5-inch hose on our trucks.
Probably.
If you buy 1,000 and you take 1,000 off, I don't want to see it in a pole barn again or up on racks. I understand we got to keep so much, but we should decide how much extra hose are you going to keep for spare, and what we're going to carry on the trucks, so that when we come time for budget and you ask for this, we can run an inventory report and say, here's all the hose, this is how much we got, and this is the year of it. And I can do that now with everything we got, except the hose that didn't get tested. And I understand there was some that got missed, so.
Well, until we can make a decision on what we're gonna do with fire trucks, that weighs
Well,
heavily.
that was my other thing. I said, you know,
Touche.
you got, what are you gonna end up with? 5 engines in a truck, correct?
Probably.
But correct me if I'm wrong, right now, you have new 5-inch or updated, replaced 5-inch on engine 7, help me out, chief.
Engine 7 and engine 4, I believe. Right now has the new hose.
So we purchased 2,000 feet of 5-inch replacement already, and this is continuing the replacement, phasing out the key. Have you noticed the difference in hose testing, you know, in our bills in hose testing?
No, I mean,
That should
testing,
change.
that shouldn't change.
No, but I mean failure should change.
No, yeah, we have, this year, I think we only had 5 lengths fail, which is unusual.
Okay.
But again, we're facing that plastic.
That's what I'm
The
asking.
problem with the plastic hose, as you probably know, you get, all of our repairs are pinhole leaks because it picks up
Certainly.
stones, and the stones just penetrate the plastic hose where it doesn't the canvas hose.
I'll make a motion to go with RTP 1577 for $12,325.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Tony,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Jack,
No.
Stacy.
Yes.
Okay, RTP 1578. It says, I think it says 1 rings for SCBA bottles at 421.
I think that's,
That should be over.
I think
Okay, makes sense, that makes sense. It says, I would assume it's for a mass amount of O-rings.
Yeah.
For
yeah, we got the hydro of all our air bottles, 30th and the 1st. And Scott, they recommend putting in new O-rings when you're.
Totally makes
Nailed to
sense.
the cylinder.
Totally makes sense. RTP 1578 for O-rings or replacement O-rings for all our SCBA bottles at $421. $421. That's a single RTP.
There's 4 of them. You want to do them all together?
Yeah, we
I'm
can.
gonna add it up for you right now.
Okay, thanks. And then RTP 1579, it says 2 water rescue throw rings at a cost of $234-84.
That's for the last 4.
Okay. Third one is RTP 1581 and it's for 8 pairs of water shoes for Rescue 1 at a tune of $120 total. And then RTP 1570 for a hose bed cover for engine 7 at $475. And that total for the last 4, No, wrong. The last four is $1,250.84 total for RTPs 1570, 1581, and 1579 and 1578.
The O-rings, I understand what they're for, but they don't include that in the hydro test pricing?
I can answer that. When I spoke to the vendor who is gonna do the project, we had a discussion about O-rings. And I said, I checked with Scott, and Scott says, you use the new ones. You use the new ones to replace because of the potential for leakage.
No, I get that, I just, hard to believe, I buy it, that they don't include that in the pricing of the hydro test as well. But
There was discussion at the state chiefs between both parties, we're 15 feet from each other. So I wanted the new gasket put in each one, period. So that's what we ended up with. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
I have two more.
Wait, you gotta finish this. Or you want two to add, chief?
Pardon?
You want us to vote on these here?
Yeah.
These four? So we got the four, a total of, what'd I say, 12?
1250.84.
Somebody wanna make a motion for that? I'll make a motion for 1250.84 for the four RTPs.
Second?
Guess all in favor?
I,
All opposed? None opposed, carried. Becky, you want me to keep going?
oh,
Keep going.
Okay. Chief, did you say you had something?
Yeah, the bill for Fletcher, which you got a memo on today. It's the repair the compressor, otherwise we can't do the hydro test. 1640 for 839.70. I don't know if you got the bill, yes, Dennis, Joanne, it's just an RTP. 1638 for the annual PMs on the Hearst tools.
Yes,
Okay, and then, North Surrey, 1639 to North Syracuse towing?
So Northern Lights.
Northern Lights towing? For the cars that we've got to purchase for our extrication class. Nobody gives you cars anymore, you gotta buy them.
I spoke to him on the phone, and he will bill us when
Yeah, that's why,
they're brought out, taken back, and everything was cleaned up. He will bill
I just
us.
gotta change this.
You can say any numbers. Tom, what was the cost for the PM on the Hearst tools?
It was $2,400, $24.41.
Pardon?
$24.41 something
For,
the,
for the Hearst
Yeah.
tools.
I don't know, I didn't.
The jaws of life. I've got the bill.
I didn't know what the bill was gonna be, I knew it was gonna be sent to this, so that's why I made it.
And then the one minor repair to either one or two of them.
Yeah,
So you got the bill already to put into October? bill?
October, yeah.
Then we'll just approve it and do a bill.
Is that all stuff that's already done? Give it a
Yes,
motion.
Yeah, so we got the one for the SCBA machine to get repaired.
Or just the one he has to work for.
This is it. I'll make a motion to pay $839.70 for RTP 1640 for repairs on the air compressor.
Second,
Are you seconding or you need a second?
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, just remember everybody, we're doing 2 months worth of stuff here, you know, so. We got RTPs from Wayne, these are new RTPs for this month. We have RTP 1583, there's CPR supplies, training workbooks, instructor manuals, DVDs, a mannequin and mannequin parts. That is $1,491, RTP 1583. Right, get your calculator out. 1491, please. Then we're gonna look at,
It's all
all totaled on the bottom.
You got them separate.
Okay, is it okay to read through those? Okay, I'm a rookie here, bear
You
with
can
me.
read off through all the
Okay.
ones.
RTP 1584 for EMS supplies, $1,384.30. Underneath that, it has 60 emergency tourniquets, 5 stop the bleed kits for chiefs, 10 clotting gauze. That RTP is, again, 1584 for 1384.30. Moving along, RTP 1585. 8 sets of Wildland exterior gear for the DEC grant at $850 per set. That's a total of $6,800. Okay, the total RTPs under that whole program there is $9,675.30. So obviously there's going to be questions. I'll start with the first one. Chief, why do we need 60 emergency tourniquets?
Because in the event that you need multiple tourniquets, it's good to have them grouped together in a kit or backpack so that it can be taken if in the event that there is a large incident, which, as we've seen, unfortunately, very recently, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And we have a lot of soft targets within our district, unfortunately.
So, can I ask where we're getting this stuff from?
The tourniquets?
Any of this?
Okay. The tourniquets, the
Only
best.
because the town Lysander is already involved in a program through the county where they're making up bags.
And the 5, the bags you had said the contents were approximately 1 to 2 tourniquets each, which you can utilize up to 4 tourniquets per person, depending on how they are injured.
So guys, I'll speak up. I don't think we should act on that in 1584 tonight. I think you guys should get together and make sure we're on the same page. Commissioners, I'd recommend just pulling out that 1584 until we get a better clarification. Put it on the next meeting's agenda. Is everybody good with that?
Are we voting on these tonight?
You know, I don't know.
Aren't these just being?
2 of them were for discussion, and then
Yeah, I think you're right.
the DEC grant, that needs to be voted on tonight, because I got 4 weeks to order the gear.
Well, I need some guidance. What needs to be separated?
Well, I just want to investigate because I know the town Lysander is buying one, I think for everybody, and then we can buy over and above that, but I don't know who's making up those kits. If we're
Well, it
getting,
definitely makes sense.
if we're getting a deal on the equipment we're buying, or if you've got a better deal, I just don't want to make sure we're.
You're not gonna find it cheaper than Amazon.
All right, so my bad
Cheaper
here.
than Amazon.
No, well, that's true.
These new RTPs, technically, we'll put on the agenda for the next meeting with the exception of RTP 1585. We need to act on that due to the deadline of the grant. So I'd like to make a motion.
Can I add
Go
something?
ahead. Sure, sure.
You do realize that this is not a 50-50 grant to $6,800. It's a 50-50 grant to $6,000.
Right.
So all you're gonna get back out of that $6,800 is $3,000. Just so everybody's aware that when we get the checks from the DEC, that you don't say, wait a minute, how come they still owe us another $400? They don't. It's, so, just to let you know, so you
So
know.
that money, that's coming back to the district. But we
Yeah.
gotta pay out $6,800 to
You have to
get the
pay out
$3,000 back.
$6,800 and then you're gonna get
Right.
$3,000 back.
We were aware of that
Where's
when
that
we
money
agreed and applied for the grant.
Where's that money coming from?
Operations. We have an operations.
Because I didn't, that's not considered in my budget.
No, it's not in this budget,
Well-
it's in operations.
Okay.
Are we all set up, move forward? I'd like to make a motion to go ahead with RTP 1585 for, again, 8 sets of wildland gear. That's $850 per set for a total of $6,800. Can I have a motion? I'll motion that. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now you can, you want me to keep going? Are you good? It's up to you.
Opposed?
Oh, I'm sorry, up to, opposed, I apologize. Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Sorry, you can take your meeting over now.
Thanks.
I tried to help.
Jack and Rick, do anything for security and computers?
I got nothing.
Alright, we will check
Unless Rick does.
the list. Safety, Hopper and Rick, you're pointing over at him.
Majority has been covered. A couple of things we've been doing is updating our SDSs. Working with Wayne to get that picked up so we get our chemicals all identified properly. And that's pretty much it. At this point. No injuries or illnesses to report. So clean that.
Chief Perkins.
The only thing I had is, as I told you on Sunday, I had a report that I was preparing for you. I did it before, but in view of things that have changed globally and locally, I thought I would just update you. If you got an answer, I would like it copied in the minutes, but it's basically who are we, where are we, and where are we going? I did a similar one for a few years ago, but as I said, due to the changes in the fire service in general and locally, I think it's something we need to be thinking about. Not having before you can read it tonight, but and I have nothing else, so if you have questions.
Well, I think as a board, we should just take time to read it and digest it, and then if there are questions, we can talk about it the next meeting. So nominations and resignations. We had 2 resignations from Baldwinville, Ronald Reed and Lucas Thompson. And from Lysander, we had Tommy Warner and Dave Loomis. New members under Baldwinville, I apologize, I'm not gonna know how to pronounce this kid's last name. Andre Unku, thank you, was a junior.
Yeah.
And then, status changes is Michael Wickens Jr., Daniel Thorpe, and James Dillon, all from juniors to Rams. And no changes, there are no status changes in Lysander. Old business, the new Baldwinville Station 3 update. So things are starting to progress a little bit. We had a meeting last week with VIP, who's our construction manager, and CSR, which was our architect, and just kind of sat in a room and went over the plans so that everybody's on the same page with that. It was informed that we need to do a phase 1 and hazmat environmental study on the building. The VIP gave me a couple of names, and I was able to contact one of the companies here in Syracuse, and they're going to actually meet me at the building tomorrow and do a walkthrough. And then they're going to give us a proposal by Friday of what the cost would be, but it sounds like it's going to be a very minimum of under $1,000 for the study to be done. But it's something that if we don't have it done and anything should occur during the work, then all the work would have to stop until it's taken care of. So everyone agreed that it was probably in the best interest of the district just to have it done in front and taken care of. The other item that we need to take care of beforehand is getting the couple of holes in the roof patched. I have not reached out to anyone yet. I know there was a couple of suggestions of roofers that was given to me, and I just haven't had a chance yet to do that since Sunday. But I will look into that further so we can get some pricing done on those patch holes for the roof. And other than that, VIP is starting to work on bid packages for us. CSR is supposed to have the plans completed to 100% build by the end of the month. Once the bid packages are all put together, they're gonna come to our attorney so he can review them for us before we get them sent out on the street. And that's probably everything that's updated, unless anybody has any questions. All right. Where am I?
I have a question about backing up new members, because we're like months and, we're like weeks behind, and did we approve the member that just got approved by Ballinsville this past Thursday? Jeff, I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Oh,
No,
Arm Priester?
he hasn't had a physical.
He hasn't had a physical, and we haven't approved him,
No,
so he'd get approved next month?
we don't even have his background check back yet. And he doesn't have a physical. He didn't
Actually,
get
it will not
approved, but
be
he
approved
can't,
until next month because we don't have background, we don't have physical.
he can't take a physical till Bugle approved him, and they did that after a physical for September. So
Is he
couldn't-
responding to calls, chief?
Truly.
Not that I know of.
I don't know. Just somebody said they had a new member, and I said, I don't remember it. Now I know I don't remember it. We didn't talk about it. All right, thank you.
Chief submission / election policy.
Tom, want one?
Oh, Tom.
Okay, I've been working on this since June or July. I think we have it buttoned up. I'll go through it and we can have discussion and see where we want to go with it. The purpose of the policy is described as, the policy describes the submission and election process for the district chief, district deputy chief, and the 3 district assistant chiefs positions for the Northwest Fire District. Policy, the 3 district assistant chief positions will cover 3 specific geographic areas of the fire district known as zones. Zone 1 area will be the district line at the northernmost point, continuing south to Hinkle Boulevard. Zone 2 will be from the Seneca River at Marble Street, continuing south to the district boundary at O'Brien Road. Zone 3 will be from Hinkle Boulevard, continuing south to the Seneca River at Marble Street. Number 1, any Northwest Fire District member meeting the qualifications for district chief, deputy chief, and/or assistant chief as defined in Northwest Fire District Policy Number 4 may submit a letter of intent for the upcoming year. Number 2, a district member who meets the qualifications for any of the chief's positions but lives outside the district boundary will be allowed to run as long as their residence is located a mile or less from the Northwest District line. Letter of intent for district chief, deputy chief, and/or assistant chief are to be submitted directly to the district secretary by October 1st. District members submitting for an assistant chief's position must live in the specific zone which they are running for. In the case of an out-of-district member who meets the criteria spelled out in Section 2, they will be allowed to run for an assistant chief zone which is closest to the residence. Should there be no qualified candidates running in an assistant chief zone, the Board of Fire Commissioners will notify the district membership. Then any qualified candidate may run for the position in that zone in the open zone, regardless of where they live. Qualified interested candidates would need to submit their intent to run in that open zone to the district secretary via email or letter by November 1st. The Board of Fire Commissioners will validate the qualifications for each applicant for all positions. The list of positions with all qualified candidates for each position will be posted in each station at least 2 weeks prior to the election. The elections for the district chief, deputy chief, and the 3 assistant chief positions will occur on the first Thursday in December from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eligible voters for this election will be active level 1, 2, and 3 members for each district department. A list of eligible voters will be provided to the Board of Fire Commissioners no later than 7 days prior to the election by each department secretary. In the event of deputy chief and/or any assistant chief election ties, the final decision will be made by the district chief-elect. Questions? We've run this by the lawyer 2 separate times, and he does not have an issue with it. forgot to mention that. After each time we made changes, we sent it back to the lawyer, and we didn't have issues with it.
My only question is what I questioned from the beginning is the voting. I still believe that the members of a zone should get to elect their assistant chief. I don't think it should be district-wide.
My argument against that is, at any point, any member of the district could be taking orders from any of 5 chiefs. So they should all have a say in it, is my opinion. That's just my opinion.
I understand that, but that is seen, we do that anyway. Talking about day-to-day operations and working with somebody. That's all. My opinion.
So, I'm sorry, I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in this. I apologize. I know you and I have talked about it before, but going back to the actual election of the positions, we have in here, because of legalities, we have to do it on certain days, and we've got the first Thursday of December. I don't have a problem with that. What I think re-guessing is the time frame, only because I don't know how, like, the intent, I know we talked at one point, the intent was to do the elections simultaneously, but I don't think we can. I think we're gonna have to do district, deputy, and then assistants. Only because if I have a ballot and I check off Jim Smith, and Jim Smith is running for every position from district down to lieutenant, because that's sometimes what people do, and I check off him for every position, when it comes down to, he gets elected for district chief, and you've got a whole bunch of wasted votes for deputy chiefs and assistant chiefs then, because if you know what I'm saying? I think it's a wasted vote, and I don't know that would be, I don't know, it's just my question. I don't know how to, other than just going consecutively from starting at district and going down the line. My other thought was, just because I know that we do have, and again, it might be a little bit off because of this, but some individuals that do work at night and can't make the election, do we want to consider giving them like an absentee ballot just for this in-house election? That they have to, they could contact Megan and get a ballot beforehand and have to have it turned back in before that night. Back to Megan or something before that night, just so that they can have their voice heard, as opposed to, well, I work, I can't get out of work, and it's, I need to participate. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of that, but I know that there's some individuals that happen to have to work in evenings or work shifts where they're on 24 hours or something and maybe can't be there. Just a thought.
I absolutely agree with the absentee ballot, but this is as much as,
I know, and I'm, again, it's just something
what you're saying is very valid, because we've dealt with it many. We've done this probably we've done what Rick is kind of in place with a voting machine, probably in
98.
early 90s.
I think it was the late 90s.
Was it late 90s? I don't know, 37 years, I don't know.
Apples used to run.
But going back, if we don't go with what Rick's drafted, and we go to a meeting night, whatever legal meeting night, we meet in one location to do a general election, those people, then the absentee ballot doesn't work either.
Well, granted, and I do understand that, but I think that there would be a lot less of, I think you're gonna see a handful of absentee ballots versus a majority of the membership.
So, the absentee ballot is not the major thing with this. That's the sub.
It's just a thought. If you guys think it's gonna work fine the way it is, I don't have an issue with it. I just,
Well, we will, that's going to happen is
it's going to come up.
candidate A and B are running for district chief. Candidate A gets it, then B wants to run for the deputy. That's going to happen.
Yeah, if it's all on one ballot, and I run for district chief and deputy chief, and I don't get the district chief, but people that voted for me, they're gonna lose their vote to vote for me for deputy chief because they think I got district chief. We ran into this, Lysander tried it once where we just told everybody to vote between 10 and 9 and 11 or something, and they came in. And that's what happened. When I got down to one of the assistant chiefs, he actually lost by 3 votes. And if some of the people that voted for him for the chief, and they didn't vote for that, if they knew he was running and he didn't make the chief's job, they would have voted for him, he would have got it. And it created it. I don't know how to fix it, or unless you do it like Becky said, you have the district chief, and then,
Well, that really wasn't my thought process. My thought process was just, we still do it, but we say, you know, we're gonna do the voting on the first Thursday of the month at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whatever time you pick, not have a window of 4 hours. We're gonna do it at this time, and you just do. Here's the district chief, here's the deputy chief, here's the assistant chiefs. The assistant chiefs, I think you could do all in one vote because you're voting zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3. So you have technically 3 votes to go through.
and we have to do something about the active thing there, the level thing.
Right, well, so, right, we've got that, I think, pretty much all in agreement on the,
Because right now, me and Adrian could not vote for the assistant chiefs or the district chief.
yeah, the classification and levels, we have the redefinitions, and I amended the levels are determined by the district chief for the medical clearance for that level. That time you provided us, I don't know, a month ago, maybe
The second
a half, yeah, I can't remember.
So, I don't remember that one, I probably read it, but. So I would become, and Adrian would become a level 3.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what you want, yeah, that's what you want.
But if I don't fit the criteria you have now, but I fit the criteria for level 4 with exemptions, and I can drive the, like he's trying to get released to drive the rescue. Right now, he can't drive the rescue. So he's a level 4, I'm a level 4 restricted. And that's by, Jan puts me down on the other down there. She doesn't put me at a level 1, 2, or 3. Because at a level 3, I have to work at a fire station, and I can't work at a fire station. Because I don't have turnout gear, I have the green gear, so. Just a question.
All right, well, I guess we move to the workshop and keep going.
Oh, we knew it wasn't gonna be easy.
4 months, I'll get it by next year.
I just want to make a comment here. If we're going to come into this new year with the fiasco that we've had for the last
I'm
two,
not saying you can't adopt it, I'm just,
I just want to make this clear. Right now, we have filter. We can't go into the new year without something in place. We can't do that.
Yeah, but you also can't shove something in place either.
You know, that's,
So we're coming into January 1 with people that don't meet our criteria that hold over because of a loophole.
who?
And we can't do that. That's personnel issues.
There would be no holdovers. Unless there's holdovers someplace else that I don't know about. Everybody that's running for chief this year will have to be qualified, and whoever gets voted in, gets voted in. The situation, it's.
You follow where I'm going, right?
I
don't wanna-
understand what you're saying, but all I'm saying is, it's. Right now, Lysander has 2 chiefs. Correct? One of them is not given a car or anything like that, so, and he's not responding. The other one meets the qualifications, took all the classes, and will most likely run for chief spot this year again. So that's your one chief for Lysander, they have a car. There is no one else in the Lysander Fire Department qualified to run for the chief's position. So you're only gonna get one nominee from them this year. And the other one is just null and void because he's not doing anything anyway. So you're not gonna run into that situation. And as far as Ballinsville goes, I believe everybody that ran for chief in Ballinsville was qualified, am I correct? So there wasn't an issue in Ballinsville. So the cars are in the right place to get us through this year. You have one car out here and whatever cars are in Beeville. I don't see an issue. I have to agree with Rick. I don't wanna put something out there and then both departments look at it and say, you know what? Here they are, stuffing it down our throats. Cause it says here October 1st, I believe, someplace.
That was the timeline when I started.
Yeah, I
in
know,
June.
I know. That was
It's not that I keep changing it to squeeze it in this year. That's how it was originally done. I thought I'd have it by now.
It's
So that's the only reason why it slacked out in October and then November and the election in December, because that's how the timeline's supposed to be.
I didn't think we were trying to invoke this year. So I guess that's my mistake. I apologize.
Well, I wanted a policy in place to prevent the fiasco that we've been dealing with. It's been a fiasco, and I had every intentions and knew very clear it was to be done for this year, for all the guys and girls to be very clear on 2019-20 election. I was very clear on that.
But I don't wanna put a policy forward. It's not right.
I get you.
You know what I mean? Putting a bad policy forward is worse than having a flawed policy.
Get you. Duly noted.
But to Jack's point, I don't see how you still don't have the issue. If the qualified person runs for chief, the holdover is assistant chief, correct? So technically, he still holds over. Whether he's got what he needs or not, he still holds over because his title is not chief.
That's what's been drilled in our head for the last 12 months, actually 13 months.
But I guess my point is, how does it affect anything other than he's just there in title?
Actually, I understand what you're saying there, but wasn't there something that was just put out, physicals and things like that for all the members and who has it and doesn't have it? If he's not meeting that stuff, how can, I mean, I understand he holds that position just because, but.
I just wanted to clear off our plate,
Active in
chief.
any
Right,
shape or form.
so it doesn't matter. And he's not going
Right,
to,
you know.
Until he were to get his physical and his
Correct.
trainings and be compliant.
Right,
But he still doesn't.
but by town law, he still holds that spot. Is where
That's what,
everyone's concern is.
I guess,
And
put it on the
putting
next
a policy
agenda next
in.
week, or the next day.
No, let me read it. That's not a 200-2 target.
Just got that. There you go.
Man. Yeah, that's what your brain's working, that's good. Okay. Oh, I got you. All right, we have a couple of resolutions to read. Resolution 19-29, whereas pursuant to section 176-23 of Town Law of the Northwest Fire District, towns of Lysander and Van Buren, County of Onondaga, State of New York, does hereby declare the following items of equipment, apparatus, or personal equipment is no longer necessary for the uses and purposes of the Northwest Fire District, and the estimated value is less than $20,000. 2008 Ford Expedition, VIN number 1FMFU16588 LA63537.
Tony,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Becky, yes, Jack,
yes,
Casey.
Yes.
Resolution 19-30, resolution to dispose of surplus vehicle by sale. Whereas pursuant to section 176-23 of the town law of the Northwest Fire District located in the towns of Lysander and Van Buren, Onondaga County, State of New York, does hereby declare its 2002 Spartan VIN number 4S7HT23922C0 or 040791 in 1992. Suffolk?
Wrong, it's not.
It's not a Suffolk.
Salisbury.
It's not.
Salisbury.
Salisbury.
Little typo.
Don't make us get rid of
1992 Salisbury, VIN number 1S9.
And 92.
Time out.
That's the
Are you talking about engine 8?
Yeah.
That's 1989.
E1.
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 Yeah,
So you even have the right VIN number?
I got it.
I'm gonna say no, because it's not what was given to me.
1989 is the E1. Engine 5 is the Spartan with the Salisbury body.
Yeah, that's not right.
You want to just do it between?
Yeah, I'll get the right information and can redo it. Sorry, guys.
Dibs.
Right here.
Church and Dingle.
Any other old business? Any new business? All right, I will take silence as a no. Station usage, Baldwinville Station 1, Wednesday, October 16th for the Beeville soccer team dinner. Friday, November 22nd for a party for Burler. And Sundays, January 22nd, February 23rd, and March 29th of 2020 for pancake breakfast. If all is okay, Station 1, sorry. And then Lysander Station 1, Sunday, September 15th for cheerleader homecoming prep. Saturday, September 21st for baby shower, and Saturday, October 26th for a baby shower. Any comments from the public? Any necessity for an executive session?
Yes. I'll make your request an executive session. Personnel.
I make a motion to adjourn the regular meeting to go into executive session at 8:55 for a employment matter.